What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Lawn and Life Show. Guy wrote in. He said, I hear you and understand your views on work, and you talk about how you got behind on your mortgage, your truck, etc. I would suggest you make a video of the plan you put in motion that helped you climb out of it. It wasn't a plan I put in motion to climb out of that situation. I was coming off the end of a slow year, and it had been slow all year. My full-time job was not giving out any overtime. So when they wasn't giving me overtime, we was just working 40 hours a week. So you guys can do the math. You guys can do the math. $28 an hour times 40 hours. That's not include insurance, taxes, 401k savings plan, loss of time coverage, life insurance. Whatever 28 times 40 is, just subtract 28 times 40, just subtract $400. Do 28 times 40, subtract $400. That's what my check was every week. Around this time, I had a wife and 2 kids. Flip. So, what I did, I knew I couldn't get no overtime. So I would work that job, and then I would go to Taco Bell when I get off. My Taco Bell checks to work 5 hours Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. 25 hours. I was making $8 an hour. That check was $320 every 2 weeks. So groceries around this time, I remember I was giving my wife, I think it was about $140 or $120 for groceries a week for me, her, and 2 kids. I remember she was saying it's really not enough. And I remember going to work telling the guy, I said, man, bro, I'm giving her $120 a week for groceries. He said, that ain't enough. I said, man, what you mean that ain't enough? He said, 100. He said, it was an older guy. He said, he was holding his, let me show y'all what he was doing. He was headed home. He said, Gibson, this is how he was standing. Gibson, I'm putting vacation time in. I'm going home. I said, man, I ain't going to make it. He said, what you mean? I said, man, I'm going to have to go work on the road or something. I said, man, I'm giving her $120 every week for groceries. He said, it ain't enough. He said, blanket ain't enough. He said, about $200 to take care of you, your wife, and your 2 kids. I said, man, I ain't got $200. He said, you're going to have to find it because you're going to need $200 a week to feed your family. So you go from whatever that check was, you do 28 times 40 and subtract 500. Take $200 a week out of that. That ain't nothing. You got a mortgage, light bill, water bill. Listen, I was putting groceries in the house, gas in the car, paid the light bill when I can, paid the phone bill when I can, and I just couldn't pay the more. I just didn't have it. And I did good all the way up until right after Thanksgiving. That's when stuff hit December, it hit the fan. That's when I got behind in December. I didn't even buy my family no Christmas gifts. December, nothing got paid because they gave us 2 weeks off with no pay. January, nothing got paid because when we came back, it was like you getting out the hole. And that's what that's why I fell behind 2 months at. December and January. So when February hit, man, we fixed to come get your stuff. And I was still Taco Bell Shipyard. But I knew if I would have made it to the spring, the grass was going to save me because the grass was saving me the previous summer. So I knew the grass was going to save me. Yeah, y'all wasn't supposed to see that Jiffy box. I wanted y'all to think I was cooking it from scratch over here. So I knew the grass was going to save me. That's why I said, if I can just make it, I'd be all right. So when what I'm about to say. So you start to plan how I got out of it. The overtime opened up. So what happened when that spring hit? I think when that spring hit, I had been on Google for 1 year. And if I go back and look at my books, the previous year I had made like 21 or 23,000 in lawn care. The previous year. So when that spring hit, I think I had did You know, when that spring and summer hit, I think I did like 45,000. And this was around the time when that spring hit, I started cutting. By May, the overtime opened back up at my job. So I was living at work. I was literally going from the shipyard on the lawnmower, from a shipyard on the lawnmower. So when I worked 7 days a week on my full-time job, at that time, that was like a $1,400 check. So I had a $1,400 check coming every week. And then I think I was making like extra $600-700 a week cutting grass. That is when I started seeing daylight and paying stuff off and buying real equipment. I think that was when I bought that radius. And I started getting a real trimmer and a real blower. I started making real money then. And that's how I got out of it. It wasn't no I came up with a plan. I just started working. I started grinding. I was working on Sundays. Saturdays, every ounce of overtime I can get. Then I was able to put my wife through school. I was able to pay off some debts. I was able to get a hair did. I was able to buy some better. Because when we first got married, man, we would go to the thrift store and get clothes. She would go to the thrift store and get clothes. I'd be like, man, I got an extra $200. I want to go to see if we can get you some clothes from the thrift store. And we go to the thrift store, spend about $80 to $100 and come out of there with a load. And then we'll go to it's a place called Once Upon a Child for kids. They sell used kids' clothes. It's kind of new. But I wouldn't get myself nothing. I would just get my wife and kids something. I'd be like, man, I'm good. And we did that for years. Now, we don't go to the thrift store no more and buy clothes. I let her go into the department store and buy clothes. So, and she's able now, back then, she had to do her own hair. I ain't have it. Now, she go get her hair done. Back then, man, it was a luxury for her to go get her hair and for her to go get a manicure and pedicure. Now, she get done whenever she want to get done. But I would always sacrifice myself. I wouldn't buy myself nothing. Because I knew I was going to spend all my free money on equipment. And that's what I did. I told y'all years ago, I sacrificed getting a haircut so I could buy a zero turn more. I was paying $30 a week for a haircut, which was $120 a month. When I financed that radius, or whatever it was, that radius was like $190 a month. I was determined. And God opened up the door, and I came through swinging. So I haven't been in that situation since then. So that's how I made it out of that situation.